Here we go, here we go, here we go, here we go. It is Markets in the Morning. Are you ready for this? I don't think. Are you ready? It is Markets in the Morning. Let's go. What's going on, everybody? This is the blockchain backer bringing you the latest cryptocurrency news and analysis. Welcome to Markets in the Morning. It's where we take a look at the price action. Oh, wait, did I say the date? Today is, sorry, I got too excited there. If you don't know this, I've been doing live streams for like 2.5 years. I've never known how to play my intro in a live stream, and that just happened. So let's try this again. Welcome to Markets in the Morning. Today is July 9th, 2025. This is Markets in the Morning, where we take a look at the price action of the cryptocurrency market, including the Bitcoin price chart, along with the Altcoin market, along with XRP. Take a look over there at the United States stock market, which is set to open up in about 30 minutes from right now, along with precious metals like gold and silver, and the DXY or US dollar currency index. And then, of course, we take a look over there at any type of crypto news or any type of financial news as we kick off this fine, beautiful Wednesday. Either way, we still are a little goofy here on Wednesday morning. So happy Wednesday, everybody.
It is Wednesday, my dudes. It is Wednesday, my dudes. It is Wednesday, my dudes. It is Wednesday, dudes.
Man, this is crazy. This is like I'm a real streamer. I mean, like I can do stuff now. This is crazy. Okay, hey, what's going on, everybody? Happy Wednesday, everyone. I hope you all are doing very, very well. Of course, we got Bitcoin sitting up here at $109,476 as we kick off this fine Wednesday. We got the stock market sitting over there at the Russell 2000, still battling up there against the 702 Fibonacci retracement level. We got stocks green this morning. We got XRP at 239. So, you know, we've been stuck in this range right in here, stuck underneath 233, 234. In particular 235, dating all the way back to May 23rd. So today's July 9th. That's been a process in there. So we finally escaped that. Of course, I've been getting sent stuff saying, hey, trend line. But, you know, we're still in a range. We're still waiting for stuff. We, of course, want to see this get out of here. Of course, you'd like to see this just be like double tap, bull flag 1, bull flag 2, and then the big fat breakout. But we all just sit around waiting for that to happen. So, you know, there's not a whole lot of new stuff to say here today, except just kind of recap the state of where we're at right now. As you know, we've whipped our way back up to the upside for Bitcoin. It did the big old ABC, which we sat there and expected and have gotten now. Now the question is, are we progressed along far enough that this would be bull flag 1, bull flag number 2, coming in right in here. And then finally we go for the big fat breakout, probably to come in line with the Russell 2000, exceeding the 702 Fibonacci retracement level at the same time. And of course, if that occurs, you know, this is my thesis of where we are in our market cycle here for Bitcoin, to be able to go on for really the big last hurrah. And that big last hurrah, of course, taking that Bitcoin dominance down with it and ending the chaos of the Bitcoin dominance climb as it's back at the last retracement level up in here. So that's what we got going on today. Other things, right? So of course, like just conceptually, context-wise, right? This has just been, let me get these off here. I don't want to delete everything because I don't know if there's something on another chart deep in there. There you go. Obviously, this is the whole concept of where we're at, just waiting some type of breakout. I keep talking about like a trigger or a catalyst just because we have spent a lot of time during all of this talking about sentiment being pretty negative through here, and that people would be scared and retail would become toxic and scared and stuff in here because we never saw euphoria return. Typically when euphoria returns, any type of dips are not met with really very much fear at all, but we didn't see that, so we expected that. But like we talked about last week, and I conducted a poll trying to say, hey, what do you think is going to be the thing that catalyzes the market? And I'd never seen poll results come out like that before, where it was like 25, 25, 20, 20, 25. And again, it was off by a point or two in each direction. But the market has no idea on what narrative to run on right now. So it's like perfectly primed for some type of catalyst that would just surprise everybody. Because whatever some people think it's going to be something totally different and unrelated. But we need something that creates some type of euphoria that sucks people in. And so my best guess is, man, that the chart, you know, he's talking about magical unicorn fairy dust, puppet masters pulling the puppet strings, God, or simulation, that it's like a chart can sometimes tell a story. It just seems primed for some type of news catalyst to happen in here and to create euphoria and create FOMO. So I, of course, have no idea what that could be. And according to the general population, no idea either, but it just feels like it. That's why I keep kind of hinting at it, because it's like, man, it's what usually happens in here. So we're obviously predicting or guessing that something else is going to arrive at the same time, but I really don't know. It looks like the chart's going to eventually break out. Just there's probably going to be some narrative to go along with it. And frankly, it seems like that narrative would be macro related at the same time. So rather than thinking it's some type of thing very specific to crypto, it's likely going to be something macro related, just with where we're at. You know, you got the Dow Jones Industrial Average sitting right back at its high. You got the Russell back at its 702. It seems like anything macro related could take both those out and out. And that, of course, as we've seen many, many, many times throughout crypto's history, and of course, even most recently back in November and December, crypto correlating along with those asset classes or with stocks and breadth opening throughout the stock market. So it's what we're kind of waiting on right now. To see that this becomes more than just still continued ranging in here. We're really waiting for an actual breakout to happen. And I even tweeted last week, and I've talked about it in videos, that if you're a believer in altcoins, right, and your thought process is altcoins are going to go in a bull run, you know, you may find conflict within your own head to be sitting here saying, wait a minute, I want my altcoins to pump, but I don't want the market cycle to be coming to a conclusion. But I tried to make a video even showing that on XRP this past week, that you know, XRP's price only pumps in two very specific conditions. It only happens when Bitcoin is either having an expansion, which I showed the evidence that that is where it happened, and that's where every single one of them have happened historically, is that the second that Bitcoin is actually going into, I can't see it. Where are you? There you go, right? Bitcoin going into expansion. That, of course, is right where XRP takes off for the expansion. The only other times the altcoins end up taking off too, or having some type of alt season, which is when XRP's price does move, is if we're also having toppings, right? So a big sign that this would be correct is really if we're seeing the altcoins really starting to break. And, you know, it'll be kind of hard on a lot of altcoins to determine whether or not we're in that type of environment, because I think we're going to, you know, in 2021, we only saw 80% of altcoins capable of setting new all-time highs. My guess is it's just with how this market has been so far, it's probably even going to be less. But there are some assets that are like significantly stronger than the rest, right? Ones that are actually sitting near the tops. And those will be the kind of the ones to watch for like evidence that we truly are in an alt season. And especially if we saw multiples of them doing it at the same times. Those ones in particular to pay close attention to would be Tron, Binance Coin, XRP, probably Solana, right? Those ones are all the strongest. They're all sitting at the top. So those ones will really kind of give the clue and the obvious signal that we're in there. And if those start expanding and doing their things, it's likely going to imply that this is correct and that that's where we're heading. And, you know, just understanding, I don't know, when you explain it that way, it just takes out a lot of the sexiness of the market, right? Being like, you know, that's when it happens. You know, you reach excessive euphoria, you reach insanity and speculation and craziness, and that's where the price ends up going kind of nuts. But that's genuinely what you hope for if you are a believer in the altcoin market, that your alts are going to rise. This is likely the environment that you're looking for, some type of topping environment, either expansion, which we're beyond, or topping. And so that's where we're kind of watching to see if this is what ends up triggering the Bitcoin dominance to start collapsing. So as we head into today, you know, are we going to do it? You know, like, gosh. we've talked about this for so long, and then now, of course, you got all the little developments in here. It's just waiting. Is there the boom, get it out of there thing, right? So I'll zoom in on these just a little bit in here. Right? I mean, that's really what you're hunting for, is a breakout, right? And I don't think it'll be something slow. I think it'll be a real breakout. And, we're all just kind of on the edge of our seats to say, has it started, right? So, here's a little bit of this stuff. Can we get the boom, the breakout, boom, the breakout, boom, the breakout? I think it'll come. Just, is it today? So we're all waiting, right? So there you go. Russell, again, for all those who've all questioned all the narratives and the Bitcoin block reward halvings and all this stuff happening right here, and the things we've all witnessed historically happening in the market, if Bitcoin goes into its breakout at the exact same time that the Russell 2000 breaks through the 702 Fibonacci retracement, what are you going to say? You know what I mean? We still going to do this dance? Are we good? Right? Because then right? How do you process those events occurring at the same time? You know what I mean? So that's where we're at. The XRP is knocking on $2.40 door. Again, I think we just got to see the real breakout for Bitcoin, and then we could start entertaining that we can go for a real breakout. While I'm, of course, happy to see price rising, I do know there's resistance levels up here at like 255, 260 and stuff like that. So, I don't think we'll have issues getting there. The thing that we're all, of course, caring about, the thing that I care about is I want that. You know what I mean? And to get that, I know that historically, the things that we do need to see is we need to see Bitcoin escape. So any price action that we see right now, I just kind of sit back and say, okay, good. But I know we need that breakout. And once we get that breakout, then can start being like, I'll get a go. So Bitcoin XRP versus BTC, of course, it's been stuck under here underneath this 2166 for how long have you been under there? Since May 23rd, just like we talked about, where the price chart has been stuck underneath. So right in here, right? May 23rd, right here is where we've been stuck. So obviously you just saw price shoot up here on the USD chart, and now we're seeing it pop up over here on the BTC chart. So again, my thoughts on XRP BTC, same kind of target, like a 4.236 extension of this range. And, I think if we got there, it'd be met with a lot of euphoria, a lot of excitement. But at the same time, I don't think the general population is going to believe that could potentially be the top. And the reason being is that it's not a new all-time high for XRP BTC. But I think that is probably going to be our area of resistance where we're not going to be able to get through right in here. At least that's the way I'm going to treat it, which, of course, when you take it off of log scale, it doesn't look that impressive, but that's going to be the area of problem that we're going to end up facing. But again, this still is like that $8, $9, $10 price level to see that happening for XRP BTC. Essentially, this is Wyckoff accumulation. This is your sign of strength. This is your final push to go really push for it up in here. And we'll do it like this, just to kind of give you a little bit of a view on how that can go. Very similar to like what we saw over here with Ethereum, right? This is the Ethereum 2020-2021 bull run. Notice that is the area of resistance where problems come in at. So I think we'll get there, but at the same time, to just remember, the crowd will probably be screaming for new highs. The reason why this will be fascinating here is that you can see that this is historically can be a resistance level. But it also has the same confluence with being a 4.236 extension of this range and a 4.236 extension on the USD chart and a 4.236 extension on the 8-year market cap chart. So, that'll be for another time, and I'll be for talking about in the thick of a moment of euphoria. But I think that's where we're headed. But of course, the things we need first are a lot of this stuff. We need evidence of the Bitcoin dominance falling and heading back into these levels. An example too, right? Like what we just talked about with XRP, BTC, and let me hide this. Right. Am I looking at the right one? I don't want to pull up the wrong one if I'm looking at the wrong one. Hold on. No, that's right. Right. If you look at it from this inverted perspective of right, notice the level of resistance, right? This is Bitcoin dominance, right? It's really the area being targeted. So, okay. And right, it's like you're in one of these things and then off and away in crazy, chaotic euphoria. All right. Stock market opens up in about 13 minutes from right now. Time is weird for me right now. If you guys haven't noticed, videos have become very spotty on Tuesdays. I try to keep a lot of dirty laundry off the channel, but you guys know the whole ChatGPT story, the pancreatic cancer with my mother-in-law and stuff like that. Tuesdays have just become incredibly overwhelming in life at this point. So it's just been, I'm tired today. I'll tell you that. I'm tired as possibly could be. So we may end up making this thing just a little bit shorter than usual. Just to say, I haven't seen my wife in days. No dishes have been done. There's kids' clothes all over the house, and life is a little bit of a tornado right now. That's an understatement. So. Yeah, all right. So that kind of painted the picture of the whole thing today. You know, as we try to get through today, obviously what we're waiting for is to see if we can get a breakout and to see if there can be confluence happening in here. If we're going to get to see the Russell 2000 end up breaking out, if we're going to end up seeing Bitcoin breaking out, and if we see those breakouts happening, and we'll see if we can start this thing getting into its cascading fall here for the Bitcoin dominance, if we can put all that stuff back on. Which it looks so sloppy, but I'm going to leave it on there until we start seeing it chop, because my theory is this fall in the Bitcoin dominance will be just as aggressive as any of them that we've ever seen, if not more aggressive, due to the squeezing pattern that has happened in here. That when this thing falls, it's going to chop through it like a knife going through butter when it starts going through it. So last week we talked about the U.S. dollar currency index. As you know, this is how deep the U.S. dollar currency index fell back in 2020. We didn't actually see the bull run for crypto start until we actually got to the bottom of the DXY. The entire bull run for Bitcoin and for XRP all occurs just during a bottoming formation happening here on the DXY. And right now, as we've gotten here, this is where we're at, right? I overlaid things like total 3. I'm on the 8-hour chart, so I don't know if that's going to work. There we go. Right, this is your altcoin market. Notice that your altcoin market is nowhere near the high at this point when this bottom of this DXY ends up coming in here. It's once the bottom is put in, we have the entire bull run for the entire crypto market occur down here at this bottoming, right? And then once it reverses off the bottom, what happens? That's actually the end. So as of right now, of course, there's a confluence of that we've just now reached there. So we'll see if we can get things kicked off and going at the same time. As for gold, of course, is still just completely stalled out. This is an example that I also used in a video and over there on X to show this is the same concept of all these things that we talk about in here, that this is not anything, no guru stuff happening here at all. This is just typical stuff of when you get back to highs and what can end up happening in here, that you end up having these ABCs end up taking place in here. And then that, of course, is exactly what we saw with gold, right? And that's the top of gold from 2011. It takes all the way till 2020 to get here, 9 years. And it spends 3 years ABCing in here, ABC. And then, you go through all this choppy stuff before an actual real breakout ends up coming, and it sends it rocking and rolling. And so that's what I think we're going to see over here in the cryptocurrency market here soon enough, once this thing can actually end up doing it. And so that is my theory. That's my plan here for crypto, that we're going to see that kind of stuff happening here. And this is just another one of those examples to show you what it can look like when it does occur. So there you go. There we have it. There's no real new things to talk about. And like you might see stuff about tariffs. Right? They're going to talk about tariffs. Tariffs on cars, copper, drugs, and aluminum could hit harder than things that move as investors monitor the latest tariff news. Right? This is July 9th. This was the original extension date for tariffs, and those have now been extended until August 1st. So I don't know if there's really anything crazy going on in markets today in regards to news or anything like that. There's no real big narrative on rate cuts happening anytime soon, right? Like you got a 5% chance of a rate cut coming at the next meeting, which is in 21 days. The next meeting comes up there in September, right? September 17th, 62% chance. If we see like what things we've talked about in the past, like you go through and you look through historical cutting cycles and things like that. Like the question is, did we actually enter into a cutting cycle when the Fed made that 50 basis point rate cut back right before the election, or was that completely political? It has all the appearances of being political because if anything, things have kind of improved since then, but they won't do any cuts. But if we're seeing all these elements happening in here, where you see the dominance fall back to these levels, you see XRP, BTC get up to these levels, when you see the 4.236 extension, we get beyond this point right in here, and then the Fed starts their cutting cycle. Does that become the narrative, right? Oh, inflation's going to come back. The Fed is cutting. The money printer is going to be turned on. It's time to buy, right? Does the general public get sucked into the top by the beginning of an actual real cutting cycle starting? That's possible, right? So just kind of thinking about those things ahead of time. Anyway, moving on over here to the news. Trump's tariffs on cars, copper, drugs, and aluminum could hit harder than other levies. Treasury yields move lower as investors monitor latest tariff news. I was looking at them today. There's nothing really going on with them. European Union in limbo as Washington keeps its waiting on a trade agreement. Copper now costs way more than in the U.S. than elsewhere. This could hit its economy hard. Moving over here to crypto news. Editor's choice. Pump fund token sale confirmed. Europe-based users barred. Bybit. Bitcoin gets highly favorable cues as DXY sets 21-year weakness record. High conviction that ETH will surge 160%. Sol sentiment opportunity and trade secrets. I do not know how to pronounce that. Huiwan wallets moved $1 billion to crypto exchange since FinCEN action. Crypto's path to legitimacy runs through the CARF regulations. How to use a crypto hardware wallet, a step-by-step guide. Bit Digital shifts treasury strategy with 100K ETH buy, stock surges 29%. Private companies line up to join Robinhood's tokenized equity platform. XRP price must break this key level to reclaim $3. Let me guess. It must break 240. It must break 250, 60, 70, 80, and 90. And if it breaks all of those, then it can try to reclaim $3 if it can break above it. These are always funny. Crypto fundraising surges to $10 billion in Q2. I almost made it through without making fun of the news. Crypto fundraising surges to $10 billion in Q2, highest since early of 2022. You know what I didn't do? I didn't set up my outro. That's what I have to do now for the next stream. For those who missed it, who have been watching the channel for years, yeah, this just happened. I can do that now. I need to set up the outro to be able to do that. But either way, guys, it's middle of the week. We got through the news. I didn't get too crazy over there on it. We're kind of just on this thing of waiting to see if we can get a breakout happening in here. You got 239 for XRP, 1096 for Bitcoin. You got the Russell at 2240 trying to get through that 702. Give those positive vibes.
It is Wednesday, my dude. It is Wednesday. Dudes.
All right. There we go. So we've got quite a few people in here. We got 2738. It's nothing crazy, right? It's nothing like where you'd be like, are things happening? There's probably a little bit of optimism that this thing could break out of here, so people are kind of paying attention to it right now. You got the Russell. All right, we're gonna do it. Let's go to the real small time frame. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Waiting for markets to open. Waiting for markets to open. Which will be in 4 minutes, right? Whew. So obviously waiting to see if we can go ahead and get the escape, which I don't know. I don't know if it will right now, but I think when it happens, it'll be one of those things where we're all having alarms triggering off on our phone. So, okay. Anything else we need to cover in here? I think we've got it. Maybe it's XRP moving. That's why we've got it here. We have the highest price on XRP since May of 23. Maybe that's why we have more viewers in the thing. You know, typical range is 1,800 to 2,400. So we always pay attention to when we're like hitting exceptionally high numbers. Exceptionally high scary numbers are in the 4,000 and 5,000s. Those are when we're kind of like, are we getting a little too euphoric? So this isn't anything. One other thing I noticed over there on the Coinbase app rankings bot over there, that Coinbase, it's now in the 200s, right? So we were making comments on that a couple of weeks ago saying when it was in the 400s, it's like, dude, this is exactly what it was like in November before the prices took off. And that's what everybody wants. Everybody wants it to be like, give me all these nice early signs that things are going to be great so that I can buy, and then things turn great. That's never how it goes. It is always, here, let me make everything horrible, absolutely horrid, and then when you're not expecting it, I'm going to shoot the price to the upside. That's how it always works. If you haven't gone on to that, why people get so mad at markets. Okay. Okay, we're going to hop into the chat. I feel like I'm dragging today. All right, Jonas Fugalis, member for 24 months. Brother, thank you. He says, good morning, backer. Is breadth on the 4 hour, 8 hours indicating still sleeping? I don't know. Let's see if I can get a chart with it on there. I'm working off screen real quick to bring something in and see what we have. The problem with 4 and 8 hours is you just can't trust it at all. So we can look at it, but even if it's shooting straight to the upside, I won't trust it. It has to be daily. Sorry, guys. I know like this is the #1 rule of live streaming is you don't be silent on the live stream. Nothing on the 8. Real sloppy on the 4. Real sloppy on the 4. Nothing on the 8 yet. But again, I wouldn't trust either one of them, even if they were pointed to the upside, because those timings don't matter. What we care about is the daily. And daily's not up yet. Okay. Oh, member for 21 months. BCB, a respected brother, and always have. Thanks for everything. I can't appreciate you enough. One love from Sweden. Oh, brother, thank you very much. And thanks for support for 21 months. And Jonas for 24 months. This is your 2-year anniversary, brother. Thank you, man. XP Market is today the day. XP Market, always wonderful to see you. I don't know. It sure is teasing it, right? Like, all right. So for those who remember, here's why I don't want to say. I just don't want to have egg on my face. This place is so toxic that you could have egg on your face for simple, if you're like right here, right? Where is it? There we go. Right. Like if it's like that right now. Okay, I need to move this chart so I don't keep doing that. All right, this goes here. That won't happen, right? So if you're in like that, then it would be like, you know how the market is. Your shadow's going up. Right? And then it still does this, and then it eventually, works its way, and then eventually it busts. Right? Oh, no, we're doomed. And then come on. Then the breakout comes, right? So I look at this, right? And like, obviously ABC, what are we looking for? Bull flags to show up. And then what are those things we've always talked about, right? Like double tap, bull flag, breakout, right? And then what do we end up having, right? A short squeeze. And then you end up having violent back test V bottom, right? But in the double tap, right? So conceptually, right? Double tap, right? Bull flag. Could you break out from here? I think you could. Right? For those who've just watched all this. I mean, I have things on the BC Backer course reported all about this. You've seen this in YouTube videos. If you've been watching the channel for, I cannot believe it, in 4 months, it'll be 6-year anniversary. You've seen it a few times, right? So you could be there, but there's likely going to need to be this bust out. All right, so there we go. Stock market just opened. We're back above the 702 for the Russell. Obviously, we want to see breakout. Right, so we've gotten a little bit above it before, but we want to see breakout. Good to see that the market didn't open with some like rejection from it yet. But we'll monitor that throughout the day and see if we can end up getting a bust out. But I don't know if it'll be today, but boy, it sure looks like it's threatening to, right? All those things that we'd want to be seeing. But what's the thing missing? The thing I keep saying, man, the trigger. Where's the trigger? Is it going to be a catalyst? Is it going to be news? Maybe. Texas takeover. And of course, that was 27 months for XP market, followed by Texas takeover at 26 months, saying XP market, I hope today is the day. Yeah. Mark of G, TG, member for 25 months. Look at all these 2-year people, like back to back. There's like 5 of them. Been a while since I've watched live due to work from the United Kingdom, but thanks as always. I always watch your content though, and drop a like. Let us all go. Thank you. I always appreciate that. Here's something I do know, right? And to all of you who are very specifically those people, when I upload a video and I make it go live, right? Typically, I from start to finish, and by the time a video gets uploaded, that whole process of that 15-minute video takes me about 5 hours. From the very beginning of putting together content, figuring out what I'm going to talk about, formulating charts and getting it all prepared, to then recording and editing, and then fixing some things, re-recording things, and getting things real fine-tuned, to editing, exporting, uploading, processing live. And the way I know my video is live and there's no problems with it when it's live is I sit there and I stare at the screen when the video is live. And within about 5 seconds or so, there'll be like 40 or 50 likes. So whoever you are, if you turn the video on and you hit the like button before you even watch the video, I want you to know I appreciate that. Thank you. It is literally the #1 way to support the channel. Even if you're late to the video, just hitting the like button. #1 way. I'm not sure on the algorithms weight they place on comments or not. And I had to kind of like chalk that up to not caring on asking, please leave a comment like for extra engagement, because we delete so many comments here. If I don't know whether we've been doing it for 3 years or if we've been doing it for 4 years at this point, but that there are no spam comments on my videos. There are no scammers in any of my video comments because we go through every single one of them. So, my video comments are typically, the number of comments are going to be way less than a lot because we remove all the scams, and the scams outweigh real comments by 2 to 1. So, but if you're a real person and you would like to comment on the video and say something, by all means, please do. But the #1 way, of course, is to like. But thank you, Mark. Mark of OG. The Dragonfly Doji, XRP BTC finally breaking through the 2150, 2170 range. Yes, it is. And Bitcoin dominance taking a little bit of a spill this morning. right? Losing some of that juice from what that rise was right there, right? Dave O'Brien, member for 15 months. Thank you very much. Fun catalyst idea. Elon upset over debt, preaches crypto. Yeah, I had posted something on X because I'd shown you guys this. I think it was in Markets in the Morning. I don't think this was in a video. Maybe I added it into a video as well, but I'm pretty sure it was Markets in the Morning right in here. That when this all happened, we're kind of in an environment right before Bitcoin made its final push in the market, right? Bitcoin's like in the 30,000s, and then this was in 2021. And then the surprise hits the market. It's like Elon, right? And he's pumping Doge. And I had tweeted that, like, if Elon comes out and posts about Monero right now, I think I'll check myself into insane asylum because we're just repeating life at this point. But it's an interest. I think somebody asked him about Bitcoin recently. And he said yes. The party would have to do. I don't want to repeat. I don't know if that's true because I didn't corroborate that his response tweet to that in regards to Bitcoin or not in the last couple of days because he's starting some new political party or something, right? So I don't know. Is he going to ramp up the whole crypto because government spending and money printing and all that stuff, right? Will he lead the charge again? Is he going to start this thing all over again? Oh, dang, you guys went crazy and you liked the live streams. Thank you. We're almost at 1,000. So there's Russell still in the battle. Cameron Vaughn, Trump Social submits crypto ETF application. Catalyst? Question mark? No. Would have already done it. I genuinely think when this thing busts out of here, you could see a $6,000-$7,000 candle that day. Of course, that's always difficult because if it happens like 2 hours before closing and it puts like $2,000 on one day and $4,000 on the next day, then it's still, then it's not technically one candle. But that's the kind of breakout I'm looking for. I'm looking for something very real, very convincing. Okay, Matt, thank you. And I know you're a huge supporter of the channel and you tweet, you comment, you everything like that, but I'm not going to say the coin name. You say, hey, BCB, are you still big on blank coin? The chart looks like it's got a few good runs in it. But yeah, see, the reason I can't, here's how scrutinized you are as a YouTuber if you say anything. And there is no coin named what he just typed. But if I say it, somebody will make it. Somebody else try to pump it. Let's say BCB talked about it. You just can't do anything in this space without that happening. Your joke is great. If my wife is watching, I don't know. She's busy. But if she's watching, maybe she found humor in that. This past week, by the way, a lot of times I'm pretty just serious. I'm goofy too, but I'm sometimes just like whatever. But she'll sit on the couch and she will have her little dad jokes ready. And she will sit there and tell me these atrociously painful dad jokes, all in preparation for the live streams to come deliver them to you guys in the chat. And man, I had to go through about 40 of them. So yeah, and for record, she sits there and just loses it, cracking up. But bless her, I need that in my life sometimes. Jesse Funnel, do you believe that ADA could reach the top of the Fibonacci retracement? If it does, the percent increase appears to be greater than XRP. Right. When we're talking about XRP and you're talking about it getting to $8, $9, $10, you're not talking about a tremendous amount of percentage gain up in here. Right. So, you start getting near the point of the believers needing to really believe in the 100, the 200, the 300 for there to remain a lot of insane excitement, right? My best guess is that ADA would probably percentage-wise outperform XRP for the remainder, and that's just based on math and what the charts say. right? I think even if ADA did nothing but retrace to like $2.20 or something like that, even that would outperform, or maybe it'd be pretty close. I don't have to run the math to XRP going to $10 from here. But you have to have conviction in that, right? You have to have your own reasons for why you believe that coin has the potential. Because like we said, it's highly unlikely that even 80% of these things are going to set new all-time highs, right? So, the main thing that ADA has going for it, of course, is just the continued developer activity, right? There's a huge ADA community, right? So if you value those things and if you think there's going to be network effects from there being a big community and continued development on the chain, right? And then that's the thesis, right? A lot of these things, what we proved back in 2021 was things that were losing development, losing interest, losing communities. The things those all had consistent were not going into new all-time highs. And so ADA has a lot of those things going for it still, which, is the thesis behind it for me. Sean Gallagher, if XRP tops at 450, will you regret not selling? Well, if it starts to get, who wouldn't, man? That's like saying, hey, if XRP topped right there and it crashes from here, will I regret that? Probably. That's like a hypothetical, ridiculous question. Hey, if your target for Bitcoin's 120 and it tops at 115, will you regret not selling? That's how it would be for anything, right? John Wright, you got somebody over there just smashing that like button. I got you, John. You don't got to keep smashing. I got you. All right, John Wright. Good morning from Nebraska. My husband has watched your videos since 2020. We appreciate you. Could you make his day and wish John Wright a happy birthday from his wife, Heather? Thanks. Sure. So Heather has sneaked into John's account. Good for you. He must be sleeping and you took his phone. Hey, John, Heather, your wife loves you very much, and she found a way to get in here and wanted to surprise you with a wonderful happy birthday. So from your wife, Heather, and from me, BCB, happy birthday, dude. Thanks for watching the channel, man. I hope you have a great one. Sounds like if your wife is willing to go that extra mile to get a happy birthday for you, you probably got it pretty good at home, buddy. So good luck today. Damn, I'm way behind. Okay. George, member for 20 months. The amount of calls for 20, 30, and 50 XRP is insane. I just don't get it. Look, you can't be too critical on it because the math isn't insane, right? The math isn't insane on $20. You are asking for a $1 trillion market cap. But when you get to things like $50, you're asking for a $5 trillion market cap, right? So what's the current market cap of the entire cryptocurrency market right now? The entire market cap's $3.4 trillion. So you're calling for XRP to be 1.5 times the size of the entire cryptocurrency market cap right now. That number doesn't sit well with me, right? Like, that's just really hard because there's not the capital rotation there available for that to happen. For me, like, the only way I could resonate with like $20 is that we would have to see Bitcoin just massively go higher than what I think it's going to go to, right? I think it's going to top somewhere between 120 to 135. That it'd have to go. I mean, it would literally have to go into the 200s. If you go into the 200s, then the math starts kind of checking out that it could do that. XRP could do something like that. But my thesis is we won't see that high. And it's not that. So here's theories too, right? Why people think that too. We essentially skipped a whole bull run in a consolidation phase, right? So you've just ranged this whole time. right? So stack two bull runs on top of themselves, and that's where you end up getting to, right? And so that's probably the thesis for a lot. And a lot of times you have to understand people's price targets are typically, right, if they're not just sticking to technicals, right, and every decision is completely emotionless and it's just based on what are the technicals and the measurements on the charts, a lot of times people will gravitate towards price targets based on the size of their bag, right? So for somebody, maybe they have very particular goals in life that they want to achieve, but maybe they only have, I don't want to say, I'm just going to say 500 XRP or something like that, right? Getting to $10 is not going to change their life, right? If you have 500 XRP and you get to $5,000, it's not going to change their life, right? If it got to $100, right, then that'd be, $50,000. Right? For some, now to some people, they will think to themselves, well, 50,000 wouldn't really change my life. But for somebody who could maybe only afford 500 XRP in general, 50,000 is probably a tremendous amount of money. That's probably enough to pay off all their credit card debts, potentially their car, right? And help out their life tremendously. And it would be life-changing for them. Maybe, pay for something really important. But going to $10 and it only being worth $5,000 is not, right? So I think a lot of times we know that people get sucked emotionally in markets, both to the upside and to the downside. When things are really excited, they become, it's a very fascinating phenomenon to watch that right now. Bears are okay. Bears can present their bearish arguments right now, and no one's going to burn them at the stake. But in the thick of euphoria, when the market is ripping to the upside, and you start talking about selling, and you start talking about this being the top, the crowd will gather together to annihilate you. They will just humiliate you. And it's such a fascinating phenomenon, and I've seen it many times. And the most recent one, of course, that we saw that in was back in March of last year, March of 2024. And it reminded me a lot during that time of what it was like during January of 2018. So January in 2018, Bitcoin went into a retrace and the altcoin market was going up. And I remember being bearish into that retrace of Bitcoin back in 2018. See if I can get it on here. Being bearish right here was met with absolute annihilation from the crowd. Not allowed, not okay. And, that's, of course, when XRP is doing this whole thing. And so when you get into these periods of euphoria and insanity, you think right now that you're going to think really clear-headed and everything like that. But when you get into the thick of the moment and prices moving very fast and it's parabolic, there become a lot more things where you're just kind of questioning your own sanity or questioning yourself, and the crowd around you is telling you this is the end. The environment of what we're in right now, everybody's fighting on Twitter and stuff like that, all that disappears and everybody's singing Kumbaya and everybody's cheering and there's Twitter spaces and the vibe is there, everybody's good, life is wonderful and you don't want it to end. And then you're talking about it ending. Becomes very different. But we know that emotions are just there, right? And then, of course, we go to the opposite polar spectrum of it all, right? And then you go to the bottom of it in the crowd, and it's just horror. It's a complete, utter opposite. And it's just like that with, Elon Musk, Wall Street bets, all that crazy stuff, right? And then, Luna collapsing, UST collapsing, Celsius collapsing, FTX collapsing, and all that stuff, and the aftermath of all that, right? And remembering what that felt like after FTX collapsed. FTX collapsing wasn't as big of a feeling as it was for Luna collapsing. When Luna collapsed, it made me really sick to my stomach. First of all, I'd never have owned Luna. I've never have owned UST. But to see an asset that big collapse like that made me utterly sick to my stomach. Sick to my stomach. And then, of course, I've shared emotional logs of my own. Like we talk about, trying to get a hold of your emotions and everything like that. And that, I remember in here, I was really documenting a lot of this is where like my emotional log took place. My emotional log that I've shared with you guys many times, everything, it all took place during this event. So I got to like document what it was like for me going through it day by day as we were going through this and what the emotions felt like. And then like once, buying it, and then all the negative stinking thinking. And I can't believe I'm in this space. This is ridiculous. And then when that breakout happened, I didn't trust it. I'm like, yeah, it went up, but I don't think it really means anything. And I shared a lot of that when we were back over here, because that when we were doing this, the crowd wouldn't trust it anymore. And I was sharing my emotional log and saying that's how it is. And so this is just such an emotional game that we have of periods of complete euphoria and complete utter terror. And I think a lot of times when price predictions are made, like here we are circling back to the $30, $40, $50 XRP price targets, I do think a lot of it's based on emotion and thoughts and hopes and wants and bag sizes and things like that. And I don't blame people for wanting that, because everybody's at a different phase in their journey. And, I do not like the $1,000 stuff, right? Like run the math, dude. Run the math. What is $1,000? Does that mean 500 trillion? What does that mean? What are we talking like 500 apples? Right? Like 500, like 400 Nvidias or something? Like, run the math. So there's some stuff that I'm like, I can't believe it. Then there's other ones that I'm just like, well, you can have your price target. I just don't technically agree with it. And I give a very good reason why, right? Mine is I think the XRP BTC chart is going to top where I think it's going to top. I think that, we have the measured extensions for that $8, $9, $10 on the market cap. And, those are just going to be the targets for me. And that's where I think it's likely to top out at. If you think it's going to go to 20, 30, or 40, man, bless you. I hope you're right, man. I'll still own some. I'll take that ride with you. And I don't mind having those disagreements. But the $1,000 stuff, I think there's probably an agenda behind that if whoever's preaching that anything saying $1,000. The math just doesn't work. I got to move faster. We're almost at an hour. I'm way behind. All right. I love you guys. Thank you so much. But I'm so far behind, and I've got to pick up the speed here. Gino, what do you expect for gold in the coming years? I expect it to probably be stalled out here for a little while, for a couple of years. Probably between 2,800 and 3,500. Mr. Wilson, thank you very much. Hey, BCB. What do you think about the new round of Ethereum treasury companies? Not for a long-term hold necessarily, but maybe just for a short-term trade if we're going into all season. Anything there, do you think? I have not even looked at them. And I have my own personal opinions on these treasuries. I do think the treasuries are going to be the institutional capitulation of the next bear market for Bitcoin. I do. I think that's how you scare people at the bottom of the next bear, is when, you're having to have like Jack Mullers or Anthony Pompliano. I think based on all the research I've done, it does seem like MicroStrategy is probably going to be okay, even if price fell to like 10 grand. It does seem they'll be okay. I don't know that for sure, but like the research I've done, I've tried to run it through AI models, ChatGPT models and stuff like that too. Really the one who could like probably stomach the whole thing the most is going to be MicroStrategy. But a lot of these other ones doesn't look like they can. Like they would reach bigger problems. Some of them, when you got to $60,000, they could face, serious liquidation issues happening. Others at 40,000, and really some of them, if we got down to even 20,000, right? So if Bitcoin does top at like 120, 125, 130, and it pulls an 85% correction, which it's done 3 times plus, right? That would cause massive problems for those treasuries. And you could see the narrative be when the capitulation is happening, when you're getting to the bottom, these things can't meet their debt obligations, and they would have to be dumping Bitcoin into the depths of capitulation. Don't know. Then your question may be, when it comes to, what about buying these treasuries? I'm certainly not touching these things with a 10-foot pole. But which one is Anthony Pompliano's? I'm not here to pick on him. There's the launch. There's that. Okay. If the name of your game is, we buy Bitcoin, right? And then price falls into this, and then price continues falling when Bitcoin goes up. And what are we doing here? What is the point of owning this thing? You know what I mean? Because it's what? From this point right here where this reversal happens, the price is still down, right? From 1335 to 10. So it's still down like 25. It's down like 30%, right? It's down 30% when Bitcoin's up 10. So what are we doing? So I don't know. I don't know how to read that. I feel like if you're going to own any of that type of stuff, you better have a really good understanding of what it is, because I don't get it. Pew pew. Are we starting? Thank you very much, Boucher. Oh wait, you had more questions. Not for a long-term hold necessarily, but maybe just for a short-term trade if we're going into alt season. Is there anything else there? Do you think? I don't know. I don't know about those. And your question is pertaining to Ethereum, which of course I have no idea. But because I've only looked at the Bitcoin ones, and I have a hard time wrapping my head around the Bitcoin ones and their models, right? Like understanding what the Bitcoin treasuries are. Like the general population thinks that these Bitcoin treasuries are just loading up buying Bitcoin, and like they're super big mega institutional believers, and so they're buying tons of Bitcoin. But that's not really the case, right? They're buying Bitcoin spot, they're shorting Bitcoin futures, and they're capturing a spread. So they're producing revenue with free money, right? Like that's the name of the game. So why doesn't price move when all of these treasuries buy this Bitcoin? Because they short it at the exact same time. And of course, they're buying from OTC. Mount Geifel, what is your high dev, Arb, Worm, Stark, Dead, Wen, Moon? Yeah, so those are obviously all tied to Ethereum, right? So if Ethereum pumps, that's probably their only chance. Chris Belly, hey BCB, been in crypto since 2021 peak, been holding ever since. Thank you so much for all your hard work. It doesn't go unappreciated. Thank you very much, Chris. JP, BCB, been watching since 2019-20, and you should be proud of the content you put out. Non-biased and truthful, unlike many of the other YouTubers. Thank you, and keep it up. Well, I wouldn't know. I don't really watch any other YouTubers, man. So I don't know. And again, I always say that I don't watch other YouTubers. I mean, there's some guys I like, and I'll watch a video occasionally. I always like Jungle Inc. and but reasons I just don't watch a lot of YouTube is I don't want to be influenced with my own content. So when my content comes out, it's always original. And so I do know there are some TA guys who watch this, because I get people DM me about it all the time. But that's how it's been since the beginning. I've just grown to accept that. That's completely fine. But I don't really watch other YouTube videos to know what they're talking about. So I'm not influenced. And so if I get something completely wrong, well, that's it. I got it wrong. If I got it right, hey, I got it right. Because, this is all original content. Joshua Dubin, thank you, JP. I appreciate it for being around for a long time, and acknowledgement, man. Thank you. Joshua Dubin, man, for 6 months, BCB, a big question. Holding physical silver at a scale is a challenge. Yes, it is. That's about buying SLV stock. Consider it as an alternative. Sorry if off topic. As a personal preference, man. Right, there just becomes some level of trust, and of course, in all types of precious metals. Oh, Pew Pew said you didn't answer his question. Hold on. Okay, she's watching. She's watching. She's not here, but she's watching. Okay, Pew Pew. I'll go back to that. Pew Pew says, are we starting the clock down with no sleep season if we get both Russell and Bitcoin daily breakout? You would think so. We would want to see evidence in the Bitcoin dominance. Thank you, brother. Yeah, it's hard and it's a challenge, and you got to get creative when it comes to things like safety deposit boxes, or if you're buying a bunch of kilos and stuff, where you're gonna put that stuff, right? And that always has to be thought about. Where is that stuff going to be stored at? It's hard to answer because it's such a cultural question, right? Like, it would be really easy to say, yeah, just buy SLV, who cares, right? And that thing's been around for forever. That ETF's been around. Like, I remember even buying and trading that one, and I don't want to tell you wrong, because I'm not looking at the chart to see when it started. I was going to say 2009, but like, if it wasn't around in 2009, I'm wrong. It's definitely before 2014. But it's been around for a while, and it's had no problems and no issues. The question is, of course, what happens to any of these things, and when if price goes to like $100 or $200. But I would love to tell you yes, right, that it's fine. But to tell you that I've done all the research, and that would be a thorough answer. I don't think so. But I mean, I don't have a problem buying it. I'm willing to take the risk. Oh, bro, then you followed it up with a super chat, man. Thank you, dude. Very generous. Thank you. Ben Davenport, member for 14 months. It said, big thanks to folks gifting memberships. I didn't miss it, right? Okay. I must have. Big thanks to folks gifting memberships. 14th free month for me. That's crazy. Can't wait to sell some XRP so we can turn the favor and drop a 50 membership bomb. Yeah, those are crazy. When like Edward Lang comes in here. How's about the indicator? Oh, we already got that. So that's how far behind. Oh my gosh, I'm doing super chats from over 30 minutes ago. Okay, I gotta move faster. Yeah, it's not open yet. Chris, thank you, brother. Chris Cushman. And Mazer Fraser, and I'm already over an hour, so I'm gonna have to move really fast. I'm so sorry, guys. I'm Mazer Fraser. Hey, BCB, thanks for all you do. I'm a self-employed plumber in the UK, and every Wednesday I make sure I have an hour free at lunch and have coffee. Dude, let's go. You take your break with me. Thank you. Rolf Wagner. I've been following you since 2020 and bought my first bag of XRP then while being on vacation in Greece. Thank you so much for all the content. Take care from Amsterdam. Hey, thank you very much. If BTW is listening right now, I remember camping with my daughter, calling my wife during C19 crash and telling her to buy. She's like, what do I do? Yeah, she sounded like an old lady too. Yeah. Bonkers for XRP sent 5 BCB memberships. Brother, thank you. Chris Belly with the super chat. Again, thank you very much. Stellar Hash, thank you very much. Zane, thank you for the super chat. In real-time productions, XRP hits $8 to $10. Where does it retrace and bear? If my theory is correct, if that's where it ends up going to, I would think this is probably our floor, right? That it's probably down in these areas that we're in right now, right? If this ends up being correct, if it ends up busting out of here and going like this, this probably ends up being our bear floor as well, down in here. That's my speculation. Zane Spang, thanks, Dad. Thank you. Flagrantly obtuse, member for 2 years. What would be the type of catalyst or narrative to pump the market? It's hard to fathom one. It sucks. It's not predicted on use and utility. Typically catalysts have to be, by definition, surprises, things you didn't see coming. So everybody wants to guess that they're going to see what's coming, but essentially a surprise comes and it's something a market hasn't priced in. Flagrantly obtuse says, what's the current relevance of developer activity? I can't go into that whole thing. I've written long newsletters and reports on that. I'm at over an hour right now. I can't go through all that data. But I essentially cross-compare to everything to restudy the 2021 bull run because the 2021 bull run was so different from the 2017 bull run. Massively different in regards to like the top 10, the top 20, things like that. Like in the top 10 of the 2017 bull run, everything did like a 50 to 100x. Everything from the top 10. In 2021, the average from the top 10 was 12 to 13x. And on average, even from the top 30. I think in the top 30, only 7 set new all-time highs. Vastly different from prior markets. So a lot of time was spent in 2023 and 2024 trying to decipher the different metrics to say what was it that were similar data points that these assets had that gave them a higher statistical probability of setting a new all-time high versus not. And some of those things that gave higher probabilities rather than just throwing a dart, like just say if you're picking the top 30, right? And you're just throwing a dart at random assets in the top 30 to try to guess which one is going to be the new all-time high. Could you have used some type of meaningful metrics to increase your probability from being 20% to being 40%, 50%, 60%? And some of those metrics ended up being higher development activity with developer growth, shallowest bear drawdowns, user activities, things like that. And so even developer activity did not give a 100% probability that it was going to set a new all-time high. I think it improved it to closer to 60% chance versus only 20, right? So that was why that metric was focused on so much, because of the research that was done and the traveling that was done in 2023 to learn all of that. Arm Day, hey BCB, what's your thoughts on Bitcoin Cash since it's holding strong? Last time I checked, it's like $500. I don't really have any thoughts on it. That's at 509. I don't know, man. Maybe maybe it's the ETC. Who knows, right? It's hard to like. I don't study Bitcoin Cash enough to know if it's used anywhere, so I don't really know. And I'm not naive enough to like be like that's stupid, like a lot of people will do. And then like, right, because like, dude, like one of my best performers of 2021 was Ethereum Classic. People thought it was stupid, right? But my investment thesis on Ethereum Classic in 2021 was that people will FOMO buy Ethereum and they'll be too dumb and buy Ethereum Classic, and it happened. So, yeah, that was a dumb investment thesis, but it panned out. So, I don't know about Bitcoin Cash. Carl, a Fable member for almost 2 years. Hey BCB, how are you keeping your sanity? The replies to your last tweet were so angry and toxic. Just know we appreciate you. It depends on the time of market, man. It's always like that. Like you're like the happiness for the crowd all starts when you get into the highs. Alberta's Cowboy. My 2-year anniversaries have been listening since 2021. God bless, bro. Love so much. That's always a good sign when you see that stuff, right? People are just angry and fighting. 2-year anniversary, but have been listening since 2021. God bless you. Sorry, Albert. I read your thing, but I was still talking on Carl's thing. Alberta had said he's got his 24-month anniversary as a member, but he's definitely been here since 2021. Thank you, brother. I appreciate it. Pillar 43 says, hey, BCB, thank you for everything you do. I appreciate you. Are you still going to invest in treasury bills? APY seems similar to CD, so what's the advantage, if you will? If not, any new plans? Well, you're adding one more layer of trust by buying a certificate of deposit, right? And a lot of times they're just buying treasuries with that, right? So you're kind of like the next step out. And it depends on what your lockup time is that you want, right? With treasuries, you can buy treasuries in 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 month increments, right? And crazy as it is, the 1 and 2 month actually pay more than the others, I think, right now. Let's look at it. See, the 2 month and the 3 month both pay 4.25, whereas the 6 month only pays 4.15%. So I don't think you're even going to be able to get a CD with a bank. You're talking about a certificate of deposit with a bank for less than 6 months. And I doubt you're going to get these rates. So you could just get a Treasury Direct account and get Treasury bills. And not these ones up here. These are long duration ones, but here, and here. And here, right? This is 1, 2, 3, and 4 month bills at 4.23, 4.23, 4.26, 4.27. right? In shorter duration lockups, and you're just going straight to the source rather than messing around. Big Merle, BCB, the man, is the XRP sideways triangle theory from last summer still in play? You must be looking. Is this a creative way to ask if we're going to $30 or $27? I don't know, dude. Like that, I think I'm just really sticking with what I'm talking about, guys. I know people want bigger numbers. They want them so bad. It's going to be very difficult for me. I'm being very clear when we get there as a YouTuber, if we get there, that if these prices get hit, that I'm going to have to like literally come out and say, one, I've sold a large portion of my XRP. Two, I don't have any way with any extreme conviction to be able to tell you we're going to go any higher than this. So when I do that, there'll be a lot of worry, a lot of concern, a lot of fear. Probably people will get angry at that because they won't want it to stop, right? They'll be worried I'm stopping that train from happening. But you know, this is the zone, right, that I'm shooting for, and that'll be that. You know what I mean? It's really it. I've presented that case so many times. That this is where I'm heading, and I presented it several times throughout today. So, Hot Tub Brian, my brother, thank you, dude. Gifted 5 BCB memberships. I do feel like I missed gifted memberships. Yeah, I missed it right in the beginning. I just like hopped right over him. Chieftain Blackbeard had gifted 20. Dude, you're like, I can't believe you skipped me. It's been over an hour. Bro, I'm so sorry. Thank you. Visionaire says, what are the odds of $103,000 Bitcoin before breakout? I don't have a statistical probability to place on that to say I have any idea. Right. 103. I mean, it's just, you know, you could see what these things can do, right? Like, you can kind of see how these things can get. They can get all wobbly over in here until the breakout happens, until a trigger happens. And so, you know, I think it's just, I just don't have a reasonable way to tell you what I even think, frankly, to say which one I think is going to happen. I don't know. I can't even tell you I'm leaning 25% one way or 40% or another or 10% or 90%. I can't do any of them. I just don't know. So, oh, okay, well, cool. Brad's in the Senate, and he's going to be talking right now. So it's a good time for me to wrap it up because I got to go. Oh, my gosh, I'm so late. I got to go. All right, guys. I'm so sorry if I missed anybody's stuff. I didn't mean to do that. I appreciate you all tuning in. If you super chatted or you gifted some memberships or something, or you renewed a membership and I missed, I'm so sorry. I tried to get to all of them, and I ran way over time. Thank you all so much for being here. Thank you for tuning in. If you didn't catch the major event that happened here on the channel, of course, we learned how to do the outro. So we know how to do that now. So maybe at the next one, we'll know how to do the outro. But either way, guys, check out the newsletter over here at blockchainbacker.substack.com. Includes a 31-minute audio voiceover recording in here, flirting with expansion, Bitcoin bounces, macro breakouts, blah, blah, blah. Check it out. I put a lot of time and effort into these things. A lot. All right. That's it. Thank you so much for watching. If you could, please like the live stream and give it a thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe and hit the notification bell. Oh, here, let's do this. Hold on. I got to go. I don't have time to play the whole frog. I'll just do like this. All right, that's it. Thank you so much for watching. If you could, please like this live stream and give it a thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe. What am I doing? I'm confused with my audio. Anyway, this is not investment advice, and I am not a financial advisor. But if you're new, what am I doing? I can't do this. All right, I'll finish that. All right, that's it. It's a hot mess in here. Thank you so much for watching. If you could, please like the live stream and give it a thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe. What am I doing? I gotta read this thing. Am I like seizuring out? Am I stroking? All right, guys, that's it. Thank you so much for watching. If you could, please like this live stream and give it a thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe and hit the notification bell so you can be notified when I create new content and when I go live. As always, this is not investment advice and I am not a financial advisor. But if you ever need a pick me up or a little bit of reassurance, just remember that the blockchain backers got your back. Have a good one.